What is that?
What is that?
Yeah. Do you see that? Do you hear that?
Yeah, I hear. What
is that?
Is that coming from your end? Is that on my end? Is
that another episode of TGG Plus?
That's what it is. It has to be.
My goodness. We're back. As always, Friday night.
I don't know if we've ever been this back before.
Probably not. I think I'd have to go back and watch maybe episode 15.
We were pretty back that episode.
We were pretty back, yeah.
Yeah, but we might even be more back this time.
Might even have passed episode 15 levels. Welcome to the show. It's me, your favorite son, joined, as always, by my co-host, Evan Prince.
That one's me.
That is you. We got a lot to talk about tonight. A lot of stuff to go over. New Yakuza game was announced at the RGG Summit. Talk about that. Palworld creators are getting sued by Nintendo. We'll talk about that. RIP. There's a lot of stuff that I had in my notes, actually. EA going all in on AI. That's a tongue twister. Kind of sounds like an old-timey, like newspaper caller.
Yeah, EA goes all in on AI.
Extra, read all about it. Rumors of Persona 6 announcement.
Hype.
Very
it's
hype.
been a really long. That's on the Tales of Metaphors release, right?
Yeah, I think so. That's coming out relatively soon. And some new info on Concord that I thought was pretty interesting that we should probably touch on for a minute.
Yeah, I was looking into that as well.
Yeah. All going to be in this episode. We're going to talk about it all. As always, if you enjoy the show, like the stream, consider donating your hard-earned cash to this ramshackle broadcast.
Give it to us.
Give it to us.
We
need it. We deserve it. It's ours.
Please.
Gimme. No, don't feel obligated. Just sit back, enjoy the show, have fun. And before we get into the news, how's your week been? What you been up to?
Not bad. Up until that thing we were talking about that happened like 30 minutes ago. But other than that, yeah, pretty good. A lot of the week has been spent in a hybrid of just like relaxing, recharging, and sort of working on future videos. The October to November videos. There's been some work for that. And then prep work. I've really been doing a lot of prep work to set up for the Sparking Zero release because I'm going to have to get that, play it as much as I can, as fast as I can, so I can crank out a review of it. So I'm pretty hyped about that, laying some groundwork, doing some foundation work for that.
Hell yeah. Sparking Zero. Dragon Balled up as per usual.
Yeah, a lot of Dragon Ball this year.
Yeah.
We will be taking a break from Dragon Ball very soon.
Eventually. I had a couple big things this week. The biggest thing that I have to talk about, so excited to talk about it, I got my Steam Deck.
Oh, it's here.
It is here. It has been here for almost a full week. I got it last Saturday, so the day after we did the last show.
Are we going to see it or what?
Oh, I don't have it in here. I can't show it off, but it's out.
Really?
Yeah, it's out.
You knew we were going to ask about your Steam Deck, and you did not bring it in the room with you.
I didn't bring it. I didn't think I figure everybody knows what a Steam Deck looks like,
Well, you can't just assume that.
That's true. Okay. What I want you to do at home, viewers at home, if you're watching, is while I'm talking about this, I want you to open up another tab. I want you to Google Steam Deck, and
that won't be your Steam Deck.
Well, I haven't customized mine yet. So
there are many like it, but that one is yours.
This one's mine. No, but it is. Man, I cannot give this thing a more glaring review. It's beautiful. I love it. I'm so happy with it. What's up, Sammy? It's so nice. It's so convenient. So the way I've been using it, like I was talking about before, the reason I kind of wanted it was just so that at night I can kind of chill out and maybe take an hour and play games on the couch or somewhere or in the bed that I'm not going to be doing videos on, right? And that's what I've been doing. That's all I've been doing is for the past week at the end of the night, I get off when there's an hour, left of the night, and I sit and I play games, and it is so fucking nice. The games all run really well. I only had a problem with one game so far where I had to like adjust a setting, but then after that, perfect. Screen looks great. Battery time's way better than I thought it was going to be. It's so nice, man. It's so nice.
What have you been playing?
The main thing I've been playing is Persona 3 Reload.
Oh, that's a good choice.
Yeah, because I've never played Persona 3. I played 4 and 5, and I played a decent amount of the Shin Megami Tensei games, but I've never played like Persona 1, 2, or 3. And the Reload runs great on the Steam Deck. So nice. So, it's kind of a nice thing too, because I can play these long ass RPGs, not sitting at my computer where I'm working, one, getting distracted from work, and then two, like just not really being into the game because I'm sitting at my working desk.
Yeah, that's such a factor, I feel.
Yeah, so like just chilling at the end of the night and playing Persona 3 Reload's been great. I'm traversing Tartarus. I'm going into the Dark Hour. I'm Persona. That's the edgy one where they
they shoot themselves in the head. Yeah.
Sick.
I remember seeing that on G4 TV as a teenager and be like, yo.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. I just really enjoy it, and I think I needed something that can kind of work to improve my relationship to video games. Because I think when you do YouTube, when you make videos about video games, it becomes really easy to, every time you play a game, should I do a video on this? Should I, just treating it always like work. And I think the purpose of the Steam Deck for me was like, okay, this is going to be my fun machine. Like, I can't record footage on it. This is always just for fun, Yeah,
it makes sense. And all in the palm of your hands. You just chill on the couch and play Persona 3.
I can relate to... So, do you remember when the Steam Deck came out and there were those articles talking about people huffing the fumes of their Steam Deck vent?
No, I didn't hear about that. What?
It was very similar to the thing that happened with the Switch cartridges, where people were licking the Switch cartridges because they had a coating on them that prevented kids from eating them or swallowing them. And it was supposed to taste really bad, so people were licking it, and Nintendo had to say, stop doing that, don't do that. But people were sort of like talking about how they liked the fumes from the vent so much, and they were sort of like, breathing it in or whatever. And
was this like underage kids who just couldn't buy alcohol that were doing this?
No,
just
it was
looking
like people.
For some kind
no,
of...
because it doesn't get you high. There's like Valve came out and said it's not bad if you do it. Like, you're not going to hurt yourself, but I wouldn't recommend doing it anyways. And when I got it, I completely forgot about that. I completely forgot about that. And I found myself when like I was waiting for a loading screen to finish, turning the Steam Deck down like this and just feeling like the nice warm air on my face, because it's kind of warm. And I think that was it, more than the huffing thing, because it doesn't smell good. I think it was just like warm.
It's pleasant.
It's warm. And it was kind of chilly in the house or whatever, Yeah, it's just warm. So Steam Deck debunked. Steam Deck fumes debunked by me.
The lying fake news media has struck again. They were never huffing the fumes. They just wanted the warmth.
We bust myths here. Ghostwalker in chat says, when's the Phantom Pain retrospective coming out?
Yeah, when? Where's that at?
Well, since you bring it up, it's coming out Sunday. Technically, it's going to be out on Patreon tonight. So if you want to watch it early, you can go over there. Check it out on Patreon. But if not, that's fine as well. You can watch it on Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I just got done with it. It's about 3.5 hours long, so it is a heady brew, as one might say. Yeah, but I've been doing that. Been doing the Steam Deck. That's been nice. And then aside from like working and stuff, just editing all week nonstop, I've been diving head first into a new tabletop role-playing game that I'm preparing to run with my D&D group called Delta Green, which has been really fun.
That's what's up. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like paranormal Cthulhu style thing, but it's pretty cool, interesting, fun to learn a new system. Also, a lot of information.
That's always the thing with any kind of tabletop game is there's just very info dense.
Yeah. So getting into that, but those are really the only two things I've been doing. I watched a new Tubi movie this week. Do you want to hear
Tubi movie?
Do you want to hear about
what's
my
that?
new Tubi movie?
Yeah, what's this new Tubi movie?
I can't remember what it was called. And I didn't log it on Letterboxd because it was so obscure, so underground. It wasn't even on Letterboxd. So this is
fresh out of someone's fucking bedroom editing software.
Yes, 100%. It was a movie about like this girl that teaches women how to bag a rich guy, how to secure
guy
a rich
in finance.
guy. Yeah. Yes, exactly. And I don't know, it was just really bad. The movie like ends and she's like somebody's side chick, and she shows up to their wedding and objects, and the guy picks her and she runs off with him, which I felt like shouldn't have happened. I thought the whole movie was going to be like, okay, she's learning this lesson and why what she's doing is bad. But that doesn't happen. They don't give a fuck about that.
Well, that's your internal misogyny coming to the roots to think that she shouldn't just get everything she wants all the time.
That's true. You're right. This is about self-reflection and how I can improve.
Yeah, this internalized misogyny.
Oh, what's up? Arkham is in chat. How's it going?
Welcome, Arkham. Welcome, Dizzy Lane. I think we are having a good night.
Yes. All right, there's actually a lot I have notes on. You want to jump into the news?
I think we should, there's something I do want to talk about. We should talk about all of these Netflix adaptation animes getting announced. We had, first off, the Devil May Cry thing. Did you see the reveal for that?
I did. I saw there's a trailer. It's coming out next year.
And we had Splinter Cell Death Watch. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that. They're making.
I don't know. Are you a Splinter Cell fan at all?
I played it when I was a kid, a little bit.
Okay, so I actually am a Splinter Cell fan.
Okay.
It's one of those rare. There are some Ubisoft games I like. Like I like a few of the Ghost Recons, and I like most of the Splinter Cell games. The only Splinter Cell game I didn't like was the very last one they did called Blacklist. I like all of the other ones. I think they're all great. And even I owned one of the books as a kid that I really liked as well.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing a Splinter Cell anime called Death Watch. We don't see very much of it. The one thing I don't understand is why they didn't get Michael Ironside back for Sam Fisher, because like he's still alive.
Yeah.
But I mean the guy they casted seems like an appropriate casting choice. But yeah, this is cool. This is big news. This is the first.
Oh, Liev Schreiber is gonna play Sam Fisher.
Yeah, I think that's
Sabretooth, right? And from X-Men Origins?
From Origins specifically, yeah.
He was in a lot of other stuff. That's just the first thing I thought of.
I think he's he's more appropriate than whoever it was they casted for Fisher in Blacklist. The last game that they did, they recast him, mm-hmm. and he sounded like 20 years younger, despite the fact that he was supposed to be like 50 or 60 at the
mm-hmm.
time. It was just very, very odd. So I think this is probably better casting than the most recent game, but not. I mean, Michael Ironside is still around, so it doesn't really.
Yeah. It says it's also being written by Derek Kolstad, the creator of John Wick.
Yeah, that's very cool. This could be good. I hope it is.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, a bunch of animated Netflix stuff coming up. Maybe they're going back in on animation. I know they canceled 1 billion animation projects like a couple years ago.
Well, we saw. So I have cautiously optimistic hopes for the Splinter Cell thing. We also got Castlevania Nocturn Season 2. Did you see that?
No.
You don't care about Castlevania at all, right?
Not really. No.
So this would technically be Castlevania season 6, but it's a sequel series called Castlevania Nocturn, so it's
Okay.
technically season 2. And it looks really bad.
Yeah, you've told me about the first one. You said it was pretty bad.
Yeah, they're getting worse somehow. So like season 1 was okay. Season 2 was good. It was, I would say it's around good. It was like, okay, this is good. 3 was fucking abysmal.
Yeah.
It was actually almost unwatchable. Season 4 was back to like just beneath okay. I would call season 4 watchable.
Mhm.
Then season 5, which was Castlevania Nocturne, is somehow as bad as season 3. It's fucking terrible. It's not even
Jesus.
Castlevania. It has so little to do with anything from the games at all. And then they have the protagonist Richter in name and design only. He acts nothing like the Richter from the games, and he's just kind of along for a ride that has nothing to do with him. And it seems like they're still going that route, and he's just going to get usurped by the existence of Alucard, who they're bringing back from the previous series. It looks really, really bad. And speaking of really, really bad Adi Shankar shows, the Devil. Did you see who's voicing Dante in the Devil May Cry anime?
I didn't actually.
It's Nero's voice actor.
Really?
From Devil May Cry.
Okay.
It's kind of odd. So I saw somebody say they're okay with it because it's like, oh, this is a young Dante, so it makes sense that he would sound kind of like Nero. But okay, did you ever watch the old Devil May Cry anime, like the edgy one?
I did, yeah.
Okay, what did you think about that?
I thought it was okay. It was fine. It was nothing special.
I like that anime.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool. I feel like I am a huge Devil May Cry 5 fan, but I do feel like Devil May Cry 5 lost a little bit of its original identity because it lost a little bit of its edge. So Devil May Cry 1, 2, and 3 have that silly factor. They have that kind of self-aware fun factor, but they do have a strong, like sharp gothic edge to them. 4 started to kind of stray away from that, and 5 pretty much abandoned it. But the anime felt like the most all in on that. And this new anime from Adi Shankar seems to like not have any trace of it.
You don't think Devil May Cry 5 has a gothic edge to it? If anything, I think it has more gothic
Not comparatively
edge
to
than
the
4.
originals, no.
I think it goes up from 4, at least.
They're
all in black. They look like they look like an emo band, dude. They literally
no.
look like
I don't mean
I
don't mean in character designs. I mean more like architecturally, aesthetically, like where you are, the locations, the creatures you fight. It feels like we got away from like gloomy environments and I mean the first game was a lot more like gloomy and gothic than like the 5th game was. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess I see what you're saying. If you're talking about
and I feel like
and stuff.
And even 4, like Nero was a lot like edgier and gloomier in the 4th game. In the 5th game, Nero is just like Dante, but not.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing. I love the 5th game, but the 5th game, in my opinion, had the least amount of like sharpness. And I mean sharpness like aesthetically and environmentally. It felt the least like edgy, sharpy, gloomy to me, which I still love that game. But it doesn't seem like this anime wants anything to do with that, which the original game was soaked in that.
Well,
you know what I mean?
We've been talking about that for a while, and we've kind of expected that from Adi Shankar. Actually, it is surprising from Adi Shankar that he makes these animated adaptations that are so non-edgy when that was kind of what he got famous for in the first place, was making like edgy fan film adaptations.
Yeah, like X, but what if it was gritty?
Yeah, didn't he make the Power Rangers thing?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
It was like Power Rangers, but dark and gritty.
Yeah, so it's kind of odd to see him go in the opposite direction a little bit.
I wonder how much of that has to do with like Netflix and producers being like, look, self-aware and fun is what's in right now.
Probably. Yeah, I think so. Hidden Machine says, give me an edgy DMC anime.
Yeah, I mean, that would probably go hard, not gonna lie. But okay, that's the DMC game is like a different kind of edgy. I don't really know how to describe what I'm trying to talk about. DMC is like a different. It's like a punk rock skater edgy.
I see what you're saying. When you say gothic, you're literally saying like gothic, like architecture, not
Yeah, like gargoyles and
mall
castles.
Gothic. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean like gothic edgy. Like I'm walking through like gargoyles and castles, and everything feels like cold and concrete, and there's like stained glass windows and demons. Whereas DMC 2013 Ninja Theory is like fuck you, mom. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
DMC is actually, I don't think I don't think I said this before, but I think DMC is closer to Devil May Cry 5 in style than it is the first 3 games.
I think that actually that's I can see that.
Even though I don't
It
like
kinda
the
is.
game, and I do love DMC 5.
I think we've talked about that on the podcast once, where I said I view it more favorably post DMC 5.
Yeah, yeah. It's not a phase. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it'll turn out well, but I just hope that, well, because the Splinter Cell thing isn't Adi Shankar, is it?
No, it's just Netflix.
Cool. Yeah, then I hope they start doing more video game adaptation.
But it is still
animated things.
Ubisoft.
Well, yeah. Because I think that it's a way better method to make a faithful adaptation than a movie is, I think, in my opinion. Because, animation, for all the obvious reasons, animation is closer to what we see in game than, actors on a screen like Sonic the Hedgehog. And I think generally you can do more, you can be a little bit flashier with a animation than you can with a movie. So I think it's a little bit easier, and it's a little bit, you have more opportunity to make like a 5-season thing, that shows a longer story than you do in like 4 movies or something,
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I think I almost prefer animation a lot of times. And also, I think there's a set of expectations as well that comes with animation versus like a movie, both from the perspective of the audience and from the producers and studios. There's like an expectation of, if I'm going to go see a Splinter Cell movie, I expect you to explain the universe to me and introduce it to me like I've never seen it. But if I go watch a Splinter Cell show, I'm just going to assume this is a pre-established universe, and it'll be easier for you to set the show in the universe with the game.
That's
you know
fair.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know why that expectation is there, but I do kind of feel like that is the case.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So should we talk about, let's talk about Yakuza first. I don't want to talk about the Palworld thing yet.
I don't really know anything about Yakuza because I've only played a little bit of one of the games. In fact, I can check on Steam and tell you exactly how much I played of it while you cover the news here.
Yeah, there's not too much to talk about, to be honest. Anna says, Yas, Yakuza. Yes. So yes, I think it was in the early hours of this morning, there was a RGG summit. They do these summit things. I think they're like at least once a year, if not more. And it's their own little showcase to talk about the things that are upcoming. And excuse me, they announced the new game that's coming out called Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, or Pirates in Hawaii. I don't know. I have no idea what the actual title is. This says something different. Who knows? But it's you're going to be playing Majima, which is cool. He's a fan favorite. Everybody loves him. And the more, if you make a game where you get to play Majima, the people are going to show up. They're going to show up. That's what's going to happen. And supposedly you're stranded like on an island. They're going to reuse some of Hawaii. They're going to have a new island. And Majima's going to be getting a pirate band together. It looks really fun. It looks like a fun little spin-off game. I'll say I'm more excited for them to go in this direction which is closer to what they were doing with the Kenzan and Ishin games that were originally only released in Japan, and then they ported one of them to the West later. It's closer to that than what they did with Gaiden. And Gaiden wasn't terrible, but it wasn't the best. And I think the spin-off games should really reflect that kind of like, let's just go crazy with it. Let's go all out and do something almost entirely different from what we're doing in the main games. So I think that's cool, and I'm all for that. And I think the game looks good. They did also talk about, they announced the Kiwami Switch port, and they talked about the upcoming live action show that they're doing for Amazon Prime, which I have mixed feelings about. I have no idea if that's actually going to be anything worth watching or not, but we'll see.
Did you see the reveal trailer
for the live action? Yes. Yeah.
Do you have thoughts on that?
I think it looks not great, but I don't know. I don't watch a lot of these like Japanese drama shows, these like K-drama shows, which it seems to resemble that a little bit more than, something from over here. But I think it'll probably be fine. I think that style is really going to fit it. And I think it would actually work more if it looked like a cheap, weird, like over the top kind of crazy thing than if it looked like this big polished piece, just because of the franchise itself.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, I know so little about Yakuza. I have 85 minutes in Yakuza 0, and that is as much of the series as I know.
85 minutes. Wow.
In Yakuza 0. That's it. And I bowed out because I realized this is going to be a big investment that I don't have time to make right now.
That's fair. It is a big investment to get into the series. I do always tell people, like with the new games, you can kind of jump in at 7 and then go on. You don't have to. I would recommend that people play the old games if you want, but they kind of did a soft reboot sort of thing. But one thing I wanted to talk about today with the Yakuza reveal was RGG as a studio and their commitment to constantly putting out content. I mean, it is insane. The amount of games that they put out is just insane. Their most recent game was Infinite Wealth, which was a numbered entry. That was Yakuza 8, basically. And that came out in 2024. When did it come out? It was January. So in January, not even a year later. Well, yeah, I guess a year and a month later, they're releasing the next game, the pirate game. But before that, 2 games in 2023, a game in 2021, a game in 2020, let's say 1 game in 2018, a remake in 2017, a remake and a full game in 2016. Like, they've been consistently releasing at least like a game a year, sort of on average, since like 2005.
Yeah, that is a shockingly consistent output.
It really is. And it always, when the time comes around for these RGG summits, I think I and a lot of other people have this thought of like, how do they do this? And I was kind of looking stuff up, but I found, Gene Park, who I believe he works for the Wall Street Journal, or no, the Washington Post. Sorry. He's a video game critic. He's popular on Twitter and goes on podcasts and stuff. But I follow him on Twitter, and he just happened to post about this. He did a interview with RGG in January for the Washington Post. And he was sort of asking them about their output and how they're able to maintain this. And the thing that they said was they're always shocked when they look at other studios, and every time they release a project, it doesn't feel like they've upgraded their systems. It feels like they did an entire reboot of their systems. It's a whole new engine, it's a whole new city, it's a whole new, everything's rebuilt from the ground up, whereas they don't really do that. They do that maybe every 10 years, but they're reusing old assets. Like this game in the Pirates game, you know, a large portion of it is going to be set in Hawaii. They're going to reuse Hawaii that they made for Yakuza 8. So it's that sort of design philosophy that allows them to put out these games so frequently. Is, you know, we're going to upgrade systems. We're going to add new mini games. We're going to add new systems. We're going to tweak the combat systems. We're going to add new fighting styles, maybe new weapons or something like that, and build new little areas. But we're not going to completely destroy everything we have. We're going to get value out of what we already made.
Well, you know what's crazy is that that used to just be how games were made.
Yeah.
That really used to just be the philosophy. Going back, I mean, you'd have a sequel to a Mario game that played quintessentially the exact same as the previous Mario entry, just with some new tech. You know, Doom 2 was the same thing as Doom 1, just with a few upgrades. Quake 2 played a lot like Quake 1, but with, you know, upgrades and differences. That just used to be how games were made. Splinter Cell 1, 2, and 3 all play the same, but each one looks a little bit better and has a few additional like mechanics and upgrades. That just used to be how games were made. I don't know when we started getting to this point where sequels had to be like basically an entirely new game from scratch. It seems like it started happening around the end of the 7th generation consoles.
Yeah, and I think it works for some series, and some series it doesn't. Hidden Machine says in chat they shamelessly reuse assets and have essentially been making the same game for 19 years.
But people like it.
Yes, but it works for Yakuza. It works for them. You know, it doesn't, because you know, you're not in it for an entirely new experience every time. When I'm getting into the next game, you know, when I think about playing Like a Dragon, Yakuza 7, you know, I think about the new city that was available. That was really cool. And the new combat system. That was a complete reboot, refresh of all their systems. But then I think about when I get into Infinite Wealth, it's like, okay, well, there's Hawaii. What are the mini games going to be here? You know, what are the new, like, what's the new classes I'm going to be able to play in this game? What are the new pieces of equipment? It's never, you know, how is this system going to be completely rehauled and introduce something entirely new? It's like, I liked the thing that we got before. I just want more of that, and I want you to make it a little better, you know? And that's kind of the framework that they've been working off of for a long time. And, you know, you're saying like that's how games used to be, and I think that's true, but it also wouldn't work with every game, right? Like it wouldn't work with if you went back in time and tried to do that with like the Metal Gear Solid series, for example. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't work for every franchise, and it doesn't need to. But I do think for them, it results in this impressive output where Yakuza fans are always eating.
I mean, that's true. And also, it really is a mutually beneficial situation, I think, because like you said, Yakuza fans are always eating, but also because of that, the studio is able to do a little less while bringing in more cash flow. And it allows them to keep their games. I mean, the last Yakuza game you played, did it have like a ton of microtransactions or season passes or anything like that?
No, they don't. They generally don't do that. I think they have some microtransactions for like the mini games or like cosmetic stuff. I don't know, but it's not. There's really no. They're single player RPGs.
A big part of the reason they're probably able to maintain those experiences and the way that they do is because they're getting such consistent cash flow because they've dialed in their release schedule so well.
Yeah. Because I mean, you can, you know, if you, because Infinite Wealth, Yakuza 8 was really, you know, building off of the framework that they introduced with Yakuza 7 with Like a Dragon. So it's, you know, they can charge $60, $70, whatever for a game a full new game that's built off of the same framework as the last one. They just need a new area, they need new stories and stuff. And then it also allows, in my opinion, for them to really dig down into the story, into the characters, into the sub-stories, and ensure that these games are really, really packed with stuff, you know, to where Infinite Wealth is like a 100+ hour experience, rather than, you know, we had to rebuild it all from the ground up. So it took 3 or 4 years, and it's only like 30 hours long.
True.
You know, sometimes it's not quality over quantity. It's quantity over quality.
Hell yeah.
No, because I do think that it's unfair to say that. I do think they've somehow hacked the system, and they've gotten both quality and quantity. That was
they just locked in. They just Sigma grind set it. They locked in. They dialed in, and that's what you get.
They Fortnite Sigma locked in.
I'm saying that jokingly, but the reality is that there is probably such a degree of truth to the fact that a team of people just got together and said, how can we dial our formula in to a way that allows us to continue to make the games in a good way without sacrificing a ton of the quality? Like, realistically, there are probably a lot of like mechanics and ideas that are being compromised and cut and removed so that the game can be polished and functional. Like, there's probably a lot of ideas whenever they're conceptualizing, like, oh, this would be cool, that would be cool, that never even make it into the game, because at some point they're like, all right, we need to cut this. Maybe we'll reuse it later.
Yeah.
And I think that what we're getting with a lot of Western games is companies not knowing how to do that, not knowing how to say, this mechanic has to go, this needs to be cut, we're not implementing this. And we end up getting these huge bloated 4 to 6 year development cycles, because you have project leads that don't know how to cut content and dial stuff in and say, this is what needs to happen, this is what's going to work, and we're going to get this game out on time and it's going to look good.
Yeah, and there's just something to be said in today's era, where we have a company that has basically an annual release schedule and is still making really good games that their fan base, their audience really, really enjoys. And I say in today's market because, like you said, a lot of these games, it's become standard. Like, if you play a game, it's like, well, I might have to wait 4 years, 6 years for that next game to come out. And that's okay. That's fine too. You know, there are places for that. But if you're going to take 4 to 6 years, I need to see something for it.
Yeah. And if you're going to take 8 years.
Well, if you're going to take 8 years, maybe you just end it in 11 days.
Yeah. Did you see that picture circulating of a bin of Concord copies that's being sold for $1?
Oh, I'd like to grab one of those just to have it, you know?
Yeah, just for
fun.
funsies. You just buy the whole bin and like destroy all but one of them to jack the price and the rarity up.
That's what Red Letter Media did with the VHS movie Nuki.
That's really funny. I don't even know what that is, but it is funny to just completely obliterate as many copies of something as you can to artificially inflate the rarity.
They had been collecting copies of the movie for years, and as a joke, and their fans had been sending them copies that they found out in the wild, and they decided to destroy all the tapes except for one and auction it off for, I think, charity. There was some sort of charity. So that was pretty cool. That was but it made for a funny video. They broke all the VHSs down and like turned them into something like a table or some shit.
Hell yeah.
I've always been hesitant to play any of them because of their frequency of games they make. The thought I had is, how good can it be if they're able to crank out this many? It's still damn good. I understand how daunting it is, though. It is pretty daunting. Like I said, if you don't want to play through all the old games, I would just start with Like a Dragon, Yakuza 7. It's kind of a soft-ish reboot for the series, and
that's it. You're on my shit list.
Crow
immediately.
with the 10 pounds or euros, we don't know, and we'll never figure it out because Yeah. Keep up the good work, both of you. Also, fuck the PS5 Pro while they release Astrobot and manipulate fond memories of old dead franchises while simultaneously never releasing them ever again. I feel
what old dead franchise? Sony doesn't have any old IPs.
Yeah, didn't you hear? They don't have any IPs. Their CEO.
They said Concord was like the only IP that they had and it failed, so there's nothing else they can do.
So they quit. They gave up.
Yeah, they don't have any.
They gave up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get how daunting the Yakuza series can be. But yeah, if you're interested in it and you don't want to deal with all the old entries, I would try going in at maybe like Yakuza 7, like a Dragon, because that's kind of when they soft rebooted things, changed it to a turn-based RPG system. If you do really like the brawlers, I don't know, just give them a try. Play Yakuza Kiwami and see if you like it. Fair question, but they're making simple games. The strength is in the story, writing, performances. Yeah, for sure. I think that's mostly what draws people to those games. What draws me to the games are the mini games. I want a big side mini game. One big side mini game.
You like all those mini games.
I love the mini games. Manage a business. I love the Like a Dragon one where you manage a business. The Infinite Wealth one where you have a little island and you gotta create the island, Animal Crossing style. Give me one of those and I will complete it on the first day and I'll play it for like 13 hours straight. I promise you. I do it every single time.
Hidden Machine says Yakuza 0 is a great starting point. Yeah, see, that's actually why I bought Yakuza 0. Because I read it was a good place to start. And I love brawlers. Like, I fucking love brawler games. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. But in the 85 minutes I played, maybe 8 of those minutes were actual brawling gameplay, and so much of it was like cutscenes and stuff. And I was like, I'm not saying that negatively. That's not like me talking down to it. It's just
weren't ready for that experience.
I got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm getting close to like 2 hours into this game, and I've only actually played like 5 minutes of gameplay. I'm starting to see what I'm in for here, and this isn't what I signed up for. I'm out for now. Maybe I'll revisit later. I just wanted to beat the hell out of some people.
I get that, and I've been thinking about that a lot lately because I was playing a game the other day, and it was, I can't remember what it was, but I just wanted to get to the game, and it was taking so long that I just shut it off. And it wasn't that it was a bad game. It wasn't that the story was bad, but I reflected and I noticed that like in that moment, I was just like, I sat down to like push buttons and like kill shit. And I didn't sit down for a story. And sometimes you're just not down for a story in that moment. Sometimes,
it makes all the difference, dude.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I was really excited for like, I was excited for this, but I'm getting this, and this isn't what I wanted right now.
Yeah,
it's not a reflection on. I think that's a serious problem on a lot of people, but they don't take the time to reflect and realize that that's what the problem is. I think a lot of people will watch a movie and say they didn't like it. And then they'll think that the movie is bad when really that's just not what they were in the mood to watch. And it's the same thing with games. People will play a game and they'll be like, oh, no, that game sucks. And I'll ask them why. And they'll be like, okay, well, it actually wasn't that bad. That's just not what I wanted.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's a big thing. Yeah, too many games do not let you play. I feel like more games need to earn the story. That's true. You need that gameplay up front. You got to give it a little bit because I'm just antsy. I'm sitting there. I'm like, let's go. Come on. Let me press the buttons.
I think there's even some story-based games that do that. I brought this up before, but you've never played Sleeping Dogs, right?
I still haven't. No, I need to.
Fantastic game. It is a very story-heavy game. To be like an open-world GTA clone, it is a very story-heavy game. Like that game, it actually has a really cool like narrative. That game opens up on like 20 minutes of just action gameplay before it does like, okay, now we're gonna get into like open world story stuff. But it lets you do a lot of cool shit within the first 20 minutes of playing.
Yeah. You brought up Concord. Should we talk about the new Concord info?
Yeah, we've been bringing it up.
Unless
Sleeping Dogs is top notch.
Sleeping Dogs is top notch.
I played that game like 4 times all the way through in my life. It's super good.
If no more information comes out about Concord, I don't want to talk about Concord ever again. But this information was kind of so insane that I feel like we had to talk about
it. If true.
Yes. So, what's his name? Colin Moriarty, I believe. The Sacred. He has a podcast called Sacred Symbols. He used to be a journalist. He was talking about on his podcast that he had an inside source who was supposedly very solid that said that Concord reportedly cost $400 million to make.
But it was kind of did you listen to the explanation of it?
Yeah.
It's like it did technically cost them $400 million, but they didn't sit down and were like, we're giving this game $400 million. It was more of like they got stuck in a position where it ended up draining them of $400 million.
Well, so from what I understand from that that podcast episode was that it cost the previous investors $200 million. Or ish, some of that money might have been already from Sony, and then
that's what I understood, is that a lot of it was also from Sony.
Yeah, and then it also cost another $200 million after the buyout of Firewalk Studios,
but not counting the cost of the buyout.
Yeah, then in addition, the cost of the buyout was also spent, technically not on this game, so it's not in that scope, but that buyout cost as well then factors in. $400 million. I'm very skeptical about this source. I listened to the podcast and the guy was like, I have a good source, but I'm not a journalist. I would trust it. It's Colin Moriarty. I mean, he's not generally been known to like lie.
But anybody is skeptical of any source, that's how it is. You can't,
yeah.
Unless the person brings up like evidence, then it's just, you should be skeptical of a source to a healthy degree. But I will say everything he said seemed to register and fit with my own internal biases. So I'm inclined to believe him.
No, I see what you're saying though. There's definitely, this is all, like Evan said, big if true. But if this is true, it's literally the biggest bomb he said the biggest bomb in Sony's history. I think this is the biggest bomb in video game history. Am I wrong?
I can't think of anything near this proportion, man.
I think that $400 million game.
A lot of people are going to like it. A lot of people are going to hate it. But this situation is going to shake the foundation of the video game industry, and publishers and developers everywhere are looking at this, and they are going to this is going to affect it. Yeah. I don't know how, but Concord's existence is going to affect the industry.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is also, if it costs $400 million to make, by the figures that I'm looking up, maybe somebody can send me a better resource if you find it, but by the figures I'm looking up, it was one of the most expensive games ever to make.
I wonder if that $400 million is factoring in marketing budget. Do you think it is? Did he say? I don't remember.
I don't think he said, but I don't know.
Because I saw, this was a while ago, but I saw someone, there was this whole like thing that the first Destiny game cost $500 million. Do you remember that?
No, because I don't think that's true.
Yeah, so this was way back in the day. I think it was Activision that did Destiny, right?
Bungie.
No, Activision published it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Bungie developed it,
so.
But Activision published it. Can you? I'll need to verify that real quick.
Yeah, Activision.
Okay.
And then, yeah.
So there was this whole thing where this rumor was going around where people were saying Destiny, it cost $500 million to make. And then people actually start coming and be like, actually, no, it only costs like 200 and something million. But then people start retorting saying, but you're not factoring in the marketing. They were like, Destiny had an enormous marketing campaign. And when you factor it in, that is going, it brings it up to around 500 million. So I wonder how much of Concord's, of this 200 additional million, I wonder how much of that was marketing.
Yeah, it's a fair ask. I don't know. Even if that includes marketing, though, I mean, that's still enormous.
Yeah, that's huge. But like there was a lot of money spent.
Technically, the most expensive game of all time was like fucking Genshin Impact because of continued support of the game. Like from verified figures, that's like the most expensive game. But this is pretty close to that, and it didn't factor in.
It made nothing
extra support. It made nothing, and it was out for 11 days. Like,
yeah, that's crazy.
That's why it's such a crazy situation. Like, I don't think people understand if that number is true. I don't think people will understand how big that. I don't think people will understand how crazy that is. That is insane. That's unprecedented, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's pretty unprecedented. It certainly seems that way.
It's wild. It's wild. I was listening to that today and I was like, this is nuts.
I was listening to it too.
The game didn't even make 1 million in profit. After 200, this is the quote Treebeard posted in the chat. After 200 million was spent to bring Concord into alpha, it was in laughable shape. So much so that Sony spent another 200 million between the first quarter of 2023 and its launch date.
Did you hear the stuff that he was saying about, of course, all of this is speculative. We're just going based off of what this guy said regarding his internal source
Mm-hmm.
about, he was talking about toxic positivity, meaning that I forget who the project lead was, but the project lead and the team in general would basically refuse to hear out criticism.
Yeah.
And like negativity. So somebody would be like, this doesn't look good. This doesn't work. And they'd be like, no, none of that. We're going to be positive and affirming. And we're going to, this is my words. They didn't say this. I'm being facetious.
Elaborating a little bit.
I'm facetiously elaborating to say we're going to affirm and manifest the best game in the world. And we're not going.
You're taking creative liberties. This is now.
I'm taking creative liberties in my description, but
this is a dramatic reenactment. Okay.
Yeah, this is a direct dramatic. No, this is real. This is all legit.
This is a dramatic reenactment. You're the boss. Okay.
Yeah, we're not going to hear any negativity. Come in.
Hey, sir. I just wanted to talk to you about. So we think we've been taking a look at the characters, and we don't.
Oh yeah, good. They look great. Well, I think they look great. I saw. She posted them on her DeviantArt today. They look great. She linked them to me on her DeviantArt.
Yeah, I saw that in the Slack.
Fantastic.
Well,
right.
The thing is, I just don't think they're that good.
What do you mean?
I just think they're not. They don't.
Get out! Get the fuck out of my office! Go! Shut the fuck up! You're fired.
End scene.
We only do positivity here. Only affirmations of positivity.
Beautiful performance. You're gonna be at the Oscars this year. Yeah.
That was method acting. Actually, you guys don't know, but I spent weeks in the Concord developer studio, like studying under the.
Following him around with a pen and paper, taking notes. It is. That certainly plays a factor into it, and it's such a weird element to the whole story that there's this crazy environment where you can't even criticize the game. Super weird. I know there's a lot of woke drama surrounding it, but hopefully the takeaway is that people stop trying to make hero shooters and stop trying to push games that take longer than 5 years to develop. I think what we're seeing right now is the death knell of this trend, right? Like we've seen it with other trends that happen over the years. The Battle Royale one happened as well. These things come and go, and eventually they start to die out. And I don't think we've seen anything this big, because I think it's been a long time since the entire games industry has gone this deep into into one trend. So I think that's making it balloon even more. But I think that's what we're seeing, in my opinion, you know.
I actually
humble
hope the
opinion.
opposite. I hope the only takeaway from here is that games are for the chud boys, and we only from now on get hyper masculine squad military sim shooters like
Yes.
Tarkov or Call of Duty. You know, just that's the range. You're on
Yes.
this side, you're Tarkov. You're on this side, you're Call of Duty, and there will only be jacked males and men smoking cigars. That's what I think. I'm only half joking.
Complete Orwellian control of the games industry so that you can only play either Tarkov or Call of Duty. That's it.
Total chud victory. I think that's what I hope the takeaway is total chud victory. Every game will have mandatory hyper gore, regardless of the context. It's gonna have Dead Space level
mandatory
gore.
glory kills. There
mandatory
has to be
glory
a button
kills
that you press and the enemy flashes red. You have to do that in every game.
That's right. That's right.
We need more.
This
is all government regulated.
I was going to say immense amounts of swearing, but that seems to trend against like chud styles now, because you got games like Forspoken that are like densely littered with swearing.
Yeah,
so
usually like heavy swearing games are like corny these days.
Yeah, so we'll dial that back, but high on the gore. Like the so much gore, Australia will ban it, which is what happened to Syndicate, and it led to bad sales.
It can't. Yeah, just as a rule, it can't be. If it doesn't get banned by Australia, then you're doing something.
Then we're
wrong.
not doing right.
So
something's wrong. If the ESRB rates it and Australia says it's good, we're going back to the drawing board. Something's wrong.
You got to fix something. Dragon Age has the Concord stink all over it. It's going to bomb. I don't know about that. I've seen, you know, I don't particularly think that game looks like my thing. Not really the direction I want the series to go in. From aesthetic and gameplay perspective, it looks pretty boring. But sentiments online that I've seen, and again, this is anecdotal, but I haven't seen a ton of negativity going around. It looks like I'm seeing a lot of people like this.
I've seen a lot of positivity for it. I'm trying to figure out a way to, because this is going to sound like a negative, and I don't mean this derogatorily in any feasible way, but Dragon Age: The Veilguard is a game that is meant to appeal to like women, I think. And I don't mean that negatively or derogatorily, but almost everything I've seen about the Veilguard is about how good the hair physics are. Like the hair, talking about the hair. And on top of that, they changed the name from Dreadwolf to Veilguard. And it's very colorful. And everything I've seen about it is your outfits and your hair. Right? And I say this as someone who, I was talking about this on my own stream last night. My girlfriend was telling me about these movies she likes, because we were talking about her favorite movies. And I was like, okay, well, what do you like about it? And she told me, honestly, most of the movies this is what she said. She said, most of the movies that I watch are based entirely on how much I like the outfits the main character wears. And I laughed at first, but I was like, actually, that makes sense. I think that's cool that you know that about yourself, and you know that you like to watch movies where you think that the main character wears a bunch of cute outfits that you like. That's just, that's how she is. And I assume that's how a lot of girls are, is that they like things where they get to focus a lot on the costumes and the hair. I think that's cool. And I honestly hope Dragon Age Veilguard does well, because I can see who that is for. And I think that they've been wanting a game for them for a long time. And I know that game has nothing to fucking do with me at all. I can tell.
I think if you're not joking, if you're being serious, then I think,
no, that's not a joke. I'm being serious.
I don't know, because I don't think that game's exactly like about that. And I don't know how big that part of the game is. And there are games
no one does, because that's all they've shown.
Hair stuff with, that's not true. That's not all they've shown. Like, there's a lot of things I can say there.
Kind of is.
No, it's not. Did you even watch the reveal?
I definitely have. The majority of the conversation is about the hair physics and character creation.
See, you're saying you're not joking, but then you're saying stuff like that. It's just not true.
How is that not true? Unless we just have totally different
podcast. I will go through the reveal, and I will I will figure out what percentage of the reveal is hair physics and clothing, and I will refute you.
No, not the reveal, but like the conversation. What can you tell me about the Veilguard? The conversation around the game, not the actual reveal itself. No, I mean, I did say that, but what I mean is most of the conversation that I've seen around the Veilguard has a lot to do.
I don't know,
with the character creation, the hair physics, and how impressive they are, which they are. I mean, the tech that they've shown for the hair physics on Veilguard is some of the best I've ever seen.
I could get on board if you're saying that, like, because I get what you're saying. It does feel like a woman coded game, you know, which doesn't mean
I don't think that's a bad thing, by the way.
Guy. It doesn't mean you can't play it if you're a guy. Some games are just, you know, that's not what we're saying. That's not what we're saying.
I thought that would be a good thing, though. Like,
but it does.
I don't think that should be taken as a negative attribute.
But I don't think that it's like. I think you're being disingenuous if you're saying the whole game is about outfits and hair.
Well, of course it's not. The whole game isn't about that. But I definitely think that they have put a lot of emphasis to show off certain things. And I think a lot of the conversation about this game right now is surrounding the character creation and the big quote that from IGN, like when they were talking about the reveal, the quote from IGN was the character creator I've always wanted.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I didn't think the character creator even looked that in depth.
Well, that was the thing. That was IGN's quote. That was the quote that they chose to use from IGN, was the character creator I've always wanted.
Yeah.
They showed off the most impressive hair physics I've ever seen, but I don't give a shit about that. But I mean, that is a lot of what's being talked about. I watched this breakdown on the IGN reveal, and I think maybe 65% of that reveal was about how excited the person talking about the game was about the because they said there's 85 hairstyles for like one of the races, and there's like 40 something for another race. Like a huge chunk of this video, maybe it's just because I watched this video earlier today, and most of this IGN video that I watched was breaking down the hairstyles, character creation.
I don't know. I just think the thing that really turned me off from the game was the like focus on it more feeling like a linear, like it feels like it's trying, everything I've seen from it feels like it's trying to be this like linear third person, like over the shoulder action adventure game, but also be this like in-depth choice-based RPG at the same time. And when I start to get those vibes from a game, like I can't really tell if it's dialed in on something it wants to do well, then in my mind, it's generally probably going to do two things medium at best. And so that was like the biggest thing that I saw that was like, ugh.
It is, but it is probably going to be a pretty big game though, I imagine.
What do you mean?
I mean, a lot of like the first two Dragon Age games, both of which I actually liked a lot, did not do very well at pretty much anything. They did passable at most things, but it was just comprehensively a good experience.
When I see a game, here, I'll explain it to you like this. When I see a game and I'm like, the character's walking up slowly to a railing, and then the camera's panning, and there's lights that are going like this, and the camera's panning across a big landscape, and they're going, whoa, and then they're walking downstairs, and the camera's panning to show the landscape again. That's like, I'm out.
What's wrong with that?
It's just, it's generally something that's like a linear, I don't know. I feel like we're getting into the weeds here. I feel like this is way too weedy.
It could be. You said Dragon Age Veilguard didn't look like it was for you. I said it didn't look like it was for me because I like fucking insane, gory Bloodfest games because I'm insane.
Yeah, I think
I'm so edgy and cool. But that's why it's not for me. I looked down, I was like, okay, this is clearly like a quirky, plucky fantasy game, which is fine. Yeah. That's cool. I'm glad it exists, and I hope that the people are excited about it. I hope it's what they want. I'm not trying to shit on the Veilguard, but it's not for me. I'm trying to figure out why it's not for you.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's from my opinion, from what I've seen, it looks like it's going to try to do multiple things poorly. That's not really what I want.
Well, you think it looks mechanically like.
Yeah, and
you're okay with it aesthetically. You just don't like the mechanics.
No, I don't. I don't really like the aesthetics either.
Okay.
Yeah, there's just not a lot about it. I'm like, oh, that looks like something I want to play.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I would say I'm in a similar boat.
A game for everyone is a game for no one. Yeah, that's a better way to put it. I think it looks like it's trying to please a bunch of different like audiences. I want this type of game. I want this type of game. I want this type of game. I want action RPG, but I also want these in-depth, curated linear experiences at the same time. It's just that's not really my thing. That's not my thing. I don't really like a especially with an RPG. I want something that's very open and kind of broad. I don't know. Just wasn't my thing. Okay, we should talk about Palworld at this point.
Oh, Palworld, the lawsuit, the impending Nintendo lawsuit.
Yeah. So Palworld. I mean, everybody knows what Palworld is at this point. Pretty big game. I think it's one of the. I think it holds one of the records for like most players at a time on Steam.
Probably shouldn't call it Pokemon with guns though, because I don't know if we're doing the developers any favors with that.
Well, I don't think they ever called it that. I think it was.
No, they didn't. I think a lot of people called it that. I don't think they ever called it that. I'm just saying that.
But their all-time peak was 2.1 million. Out of the all-time peak games on Steam, like most players playing at the same time, they're number 3. 2.1 million people. Pretty crazy, actually. But they are being sued by Nintendo because, okay. Let me start it this way. They're being sued by Nintendo, and this news came out a few days ago. And I think when everybody saw it was okay. Yeah, whatever. That makes sense. It seems like that was going to happen because a lot of the characters in the game look like this. They look like Pokemon characters. It was very clearly a blatant, we're taking the designs from your characters and making a Pokemon with guns game. But then it turned out that the suit wasn't based on copyright. It was based on patent infringement. That was, I think, the part that brought this story to a lot of people and was like, wait, what? Why?
Yeah, because they patented like catching mechanics.
Yeah,
like Pokeball catching mechanics.
Yeah. So then that came out more recently, within the last day or two. It was revealed that Nintendo has a patent on like catching characters in balls. They have a patent on the Pokeball mechanic, basically, which is pretty crazy that you can do this. I know that this isn't the first example of patent trolling ever. This happens all the time. People take out patents on things that are going to get used in the future and then try to sue people for using their patent. But yeah, and this is all with the caveat that I'm not, and I don't really think Evan is an expert on patents. So we're taking this information sort of from secondary sources and stuff.
Well, yeah, I only talk about things that I'm an expert on, as we heard from the rest of the podcast. Only things that I have extensive knowledge and degrees in. I don't just make shit up as I go.
An expert on Edge Kino.
Yeah.
And Concord.
And women's video games, apparently.
And women's video games. Yeah, so they've patented ball throwing mechanics, I guess. And they're suing Palworld. Palworld, or the company behind Palworld, I should say, Pocket Pair. They have responded. Here's some more interesting little images from their patent request. They have responded, and they made a statement where they said, we've received notice of the lawsuit and will begin appropriate legal proceedings. At this moment, we're unaware of the specific patents we are accused of infringing upon. and we have not been notified of such details. So I think the patents that we're looking at were found by people online that Nintendo filed for. And people are assuming that these are the patents that they're suing them on.
That's what I've seen, yeah.
Pocket Pair is a small indie game company based in Tokyo. Our goal as a company has always been to create fun games. We will continue to pursue this goal because we know that our games bring joy to millions of gamers around the world. Palworld was a surprise success this year, both for gamers and for us. We were blown away by the amazing response. Blah, 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 blah. It's truly unfortunate that we will be forced to allocate a significant time to matters unrelated to game development due to this lawsuit. However, we will do our utmost for our fans and to ensure that indie game developers are not hindered or discouraged from pursuing their creative ideas. I mean, this is a crazy situation. I mean, it's not unheard of for Nintendo doing this. They've done this in the past. They've sued other developers and games in the past for infringing on, I think Pokemon specifically. But it's pretty rough. I guess it depends on how you look at Palworld, really. You know, do you look at it as a ripoff and that Nintendo should get the money? Or do you look at it as distinct enough to, you know, to be warranted new and unique?
Well, I mean, Nintendo has a history of the most insane patents. Neko Pero mentioned earlier that Nintendo has the patent on the insanity meter that was introduced in Eternal Darkness, which is just such a cool mechanic. And because of that, they're not using it, and neither can anyone else.
Yeah.
And that really sucks. I guess it just depends on how you want to approach this issue, because you can approach it from like a legality standpoint, or you can approach it from like, is it good for the industry? So like they might be able to legally finagle this into a situation where Palworld has to stop because they're infringing upon a patent. I hope that this goes to court and that's not the outcome, because that's bad. That's bad for the industry, because if you can start patenting mechanics, what would have happened if id Software had been awful and patented shooting from a first person perspective as a mechanic?
Yep.
That would have completely monopolized the industry to id Software, and it would have taken a lot of games from ever existing. Thankfully, the exact opposite happened, and id Software were super cool, and they gave their source code away for free, and they tried to help other developers. They tried to help other developers copy them, which is why we got Doom clones.
Yeah.
Which is good guy id Software back in the day. Good guy libertarian John Carmack. His words, not mine. He calls himself that. And fucking bad guy Nintendo. Like, I don't know how else to say it. This is not. They might be, if they are proven to be in the legal right, great. But I think this is super bad for the industry. This is not conducive to a flourishing video game industry, and it is super anti-consumer, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. And I think it's such a hard conversation to have, because it would be one thing if this was a copyright lawsuit. It would be one thing if it was copyright, because then it's up to interpretation and there's the free use argument, right? But when it's patents, you're kind of fucked. You know, it's pretty, from what I understand, it's a lot more black and white, let's say. You know, it's like you have a patent on this, they're using your mechanic. Boom.
From my limited understanding of how patents work, because you can patent fucking anything, there is always wiggle room where if it goes to court, that patent can be looked at and they can decide, okay, you did patent this, but no, you can't.
You shouldn't have been able to patent this in the first place.
Yeah, because you can really patent fucking anything. You can go to the patent office, pay the fine, and say, I own this idea. But if it's big like this, if it's a big case and it goes to court, my understanding is that there could be a ruling where it says, okay, you did patent this, but you shouldn't have been able to patent this, and we're going to retroactively remove that patent. You can't. This is not fair. Just because you did it. Yeah.
The interesting thing that I saw online that some people pointed out was that the patents were filed post Palworld.
Yeah, which would be fucking crazy, but still technically legal.
Yes. I mean, yeah, you can do that. I think if I understand correctly, I could make a patent right now for switching out party members and then try to sue somebody for it. Doesn't mean I'm going to win automatically, but I could try.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think you're right. This is bad for the industry. If people can patent game mechanics, it's not good. You know, I've because it's been on my mind recently because I've been playing Persona 3. What keeps Persona from being a, you know, Pokemon like too close to their sort of mechanics of having characters that fight for you and switching them out and having resistances and all these things. You know, I don't think they give a shit that somebody is using the ball catching method in a game, because there are plenty of games that use those methods and similar ones. I think they give a shit that it's an indie developer and that they can do this to them.
Yeah. I also think that they give a shit that it was incredibly successful.
Yes. It would be a lot harder to sue Atlas or Sega, let's say, than it would be to sue Pocket Pair.
I mean, hell, Konami did something similar in Castlevania Curse of Darkness. I mean, there's a whole mechanic where you're like capturing minions and then using them to battle for you.
Yeah, it's not anything new. Since Pokemon came out, there have been a ton of games.
Yeah, Digimon.
Digimon. Like, there have been a ton of games that have, you know, used those mechanics, that have used the structure, the framework, the ideas. And that's okay, you know? That's fine. That's like you said. If Doom would have done this, then Doom clones wouldn't be around. We wouldn't have a whole fucking genre. And I think that all this does is sort of narrow the industry.
In a bad way. Yeah. I'm not a fan of what Nintendo is trying to pull here. And unlike a lot of people, I don't have any kind of fondness for Nintendo to begin with.
Me neither.
Like, I've never really cared for Nintendo games. I've never really liked any Nintendo games. Like, I mean, I've played Mario a little bit and I was like, oh, yeah, I see the appeal. And that's kind of the beginning and the end. So you're not going to see me defending Nintendo for any reason. I'm not jumping to their defense. I don't even really like them to begin with. I think that they've made some great consoles and they revolutionized the video game industry a time or two. But this kind of behavior, it feels like Treebeard is saying, it feels a little bit greedy.
Well, it wouldn't be so bad if they didn't have such a fucking history of doing this shit. You know, shutting down fan projects like every single time, you know, infringing on using their images and stuff. Like, if they weren't so hard on this stuff for so long, it wouldn't be like, this is disgusting and gross. It would be like, oh, whoa, this is kind of weird. Maybe there's something to it. There'd be a little bit more trust there. But because this is happening, it's like, it's Nintendo. This is probably bullshit. And they're destroying their image. I think if they win this, I think it seriously fucks their image. Like, I think it does something like some serious damage. Because Palworld is huge. Like,
yeah,
huge,
it is.
Especially with kids, younger people. I think it does takes a big chunk out of them.
And you know what's crazy is I actually don't think Nintendo thinks that they're doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
I think really, you know, if a bully bullies people and it works for long enough, the bully starts to just think, oh, this is how it should be. This is how it's supposed to be. I am actually entitled to the things that they don't see it as I'm oppressing and bullying other people. They see it as, oh, this is where I belong and that's where you belong and I'm keeping you where you belong.
Yeah.
This is how it's supposed to be, because no one has held them accountable and they've been legally bullying people for a long time now. So this lawsuit, if this does go to any kind of court, this is going to be, it has the potential to maybe be a reality check for Nintendo. I hope it is. I'm not holding my breath for that, but like you said earlier, patent stuff is pretty black and white.
Yeah. I hope it doesn't happen. I mean, listen, Pocket Pair isn't fucking innocent here. They're not completely innocent. They did. You know, people found some stuff that looked like they were using like the same meshes as some of the models from from Pokemon games and stuff. They've used AI in the past. They tried to use AI on like another game, I think. People got pretty upset at them about that. So like, you know, they're not the completely free like artists that are just trying to create something beautiful out of the kindness of their heart. They clearly wanted to make something that was going to succeed and make them a lot of money.
Yeah, I think in these situations, you should never be looking for who is guiltless in all things. You should just be looking at what is the truth and who is in the right.
Yeah.
Genesis does still do what Nintendo don't, or in this case, what Nintendo won't.
This case won't affect Nintendo's overall rep, whether they win or not. Majority of gamers won't even know this case is a thing. That is true. That's a good point. Yeah, I don't think the majority of people are even going to be aware that this existed. If it happens, and then maybe if Palworld gets removed from the store because of it, then it might be a bigger story, and then people might start talking about that. But it's going to be localized to PC. Like you're not going to see somebody with a Switch that only plays Pokemon games that's like, yeah, I know about that. They're gonna be like, I don't know what the fuck that is.
Nintendo the worst thing that could come from Nintendo like winning this lawsuit is that it signals to the industry and to other developers and publishers. It's like, look what we can actually do.
Yep.
And then other developers and publishers are gonna go, oh, we didn't even think of that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go bully some indie devs.
Yep. Yeah. And then that will
EA. You do not want to give EA ideas.
That would be catastrophic for the indie industry, because there would be almost no incentive to make, like, it would be like this making this game could be dangerous for me. Not just that I could, like, it could fail or, you know, people won't like it. It could actually, like, financially destroy me.
Yeah, and big publishers would love nothing more than that.
Yes.
EA Games would love to find a bunch of potential competitors and threaten them out of releasing their games.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. It's such a weird situation. And it's so odd that this happened, you know, this long after the launch. Like, I figured if they were going to take action, that it would have been pretty soon, but I mean, clearly they were
getting their patents in order.
Yeah, they had to wait for the filings to be complete.
They saw Palworld and said, let's really lay a foundation to fuck these people.
Yeah. You
got to admit, Nintendo, you got to respect the hate hustle, man. They're true haters.
Did you see this EA thing about the AI?
Which thing? Which one, man? EA's been catching water about AI for
it was a couple days
minute
ago. So I'll just tell you about it. So they had an Investors Day presentation, and it was like a 3-hour presentation for investors. They obviously talked about AI a lot, because I mean, you and me both know the past like few months, even year, they've been going heavy on talking about how they're going to use AI in the future, how they're going to use, what was it? They wanted to put ads in games and stuff like that, like in the middle of games, put advertisements and stuff. Trying to, you know, whatever they can think of to say to the public to make them lose faith, even more faith in their brand, they've been saying. So they had this investors presentation, and I actually did watch it. And it was pretty crazy. They went all in on this AI thing. They showed examples of like how they can use it to, you know, bump up the visuals of their games. They talked about this like text-to-speech stuff. The weirdest thing was this. They had this, I don't even know. It was a video, but it wasn't an actual game. They were trying to make it seem like it was an actual game. It definitely wasn't. It was just, you know, some sort of mock-up thing. And this whole thing was allowing the player to tell the game, you know, make 2 characters with weapons. And then it went done, and it just made 2 characters. And then these people could play around in this card box world and they run around, and then they'd say, make it more epic. And then it gets bigger and more epic, and then they're running around shooting each other. Add a rule for grenades. You can only get kills by grenades. And then it adds a rule so you can only get kills by grenades. All this stuff. And, this is what they're claiming is the future of games. Is that they can release whatever this idea for this product is, and that you can just make all the games you want in your own home, or you can adjust your games however you want. Change them however you want.
They're going to patent that.
Yeah, they're gonna patent that. So weird. And they, the biggest thing that they said that everybody's been talking about is that they said AI is the core of their business right now. It is everything they're going in on. And listen, I feel like the EA hate died down a little bit, like a few years ago. And it wasn't as bad all of a sudden. Because I remember when I was in like high school, it was like EA is the devil. EA sucks. They're terrible. I'm thinking Mass Effect 3 era. Everybody hated EA. But recently, it feels like people haven't been as strong on that anymore. I just want to say, we need to get back to that time. We need to get back to that time. Because this is
saying
crazy.
People don't hate EA games enough.
Yes. What can you say to a company that's saying AI is the core of their business?
I think they're super shrewd in doing this. I know a lot of people are like, oh, this is a terrible idea. They're demolishing public trust and stuff like that. But the reality is EA already knows people do not like them. They already know they don't have a lot of goodwill with like the hardcore gaming scene. And the sooner they just throw it out there and say, we're all in on AI, the sooner people just get over it. And the reality that I think a lot of people are kind of coping and not acknowledging is that every game publisher thinks this exact thing.
Yes.
EA is saying it out loud, but I promise all of them are looking at AI in this exact way. They're all thinking it. They're just not saying it like EA is. But behind closed doors, Activision is telling this to their board. All of them are. Probably even Nintendo. They're all prepping to do this.
Yes. The one thing that I think is interesting to point out here is that it was an investors showcase. And you'll see this a lot. And I feel like people don't notice this, but you'll see a company say something crazy. And you're like, what the fuck? And then you find out it was to investors. It was during an investor showcase. That's because they want the investors' money. So they're telling them the real strategies that they're going to use to make this business profitable. And they're not going to tell you. They're going to tell you later, but they're going to cage it and they're going to give it some crazy name. Like EA is going to unveil this in like a year or two, and it's going to be called like EA Project Scythe, And you're going to be like, whoa, what's Project Scythe?
It's probably going to be EA Imaginative Worlds.
Yeah. So, yeah. Like, it's going to have some cool name. It's going to be packaged all nice. They have to figure out how to market it to you first. But you are right. Yeah, every company is waiting or having people work on figuring out how to do this so it's so good and it looks so good that people don't even know.
And by the way, I don't think that this is limited to the video game industry either. I've said this on stream before, but I think we are just counting down the days until Spotify and Apple Music integrate like Suno and AI music generation functionality to where if you pay for Spotify, you will have access to generate your own music through AI in minutes.
Yep.
You would just pull up your Spotify app, you go to generate my playlist, something like that, and you type in hip hop trap song about growing up on the streets of New Jersey. And you wait for 45 seconds and you have that exact thing.
You have a
which
whole
you can
playlist of songs.
You can do that on
like
Suno
that.
right fucking now.
Yeah.
You can do that right now and it sounds like good. Not great, it's clearly AI, but it sounds better every day I go back and check it. It like that already exists. I'm not talking about technology that isn't accessible to the public. You can go do this right fucking now.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that It's free, by the way, if you want to go look it up and try it. I'm being serious. I'm just saying that it's only a matter of time before that exact concept has been integrated into Spotify and Apple Music and whatever it is that you're using. You pay their subscription fee, and now you get to just generate whatever you want. And EA is being upfront, but I think all of these video game industry publishers are looking at how they can take that and make it for video games.
Well, the thing that's crazy is like people, you'll see people. Remember the Secret Wars thing where that Disney show came out and
they
people
used
found
AI
out that they used
art
it.
in their intro.
Yeah. A lot of these things.
That's it. You're on my shit
Nerfy,
list. Effective
thank
immediately.
you for the 5 bones. We appreciate you. I have to get to work. Just wanted to thank you for getting me through a lot of long shifts with your videos. Appreciate you very much. Thank you for the 5 bones. A lot of these things that come out where it's like, oh, this movie used AI, this show used AI, this game used AI. It's always spotted by people, right? Like the companies are never coming out and going.
They're kind of like trying to play it under the radar.
Yeah. There's stuff you haven't noticed yet. I guarantee
1,000%.
there are movies that have come out, there are shows that have come out, there are songs, games, whatever that have come out, and you haven't noticed it. 100%. And it's going to get to the point where it just isn't noticeable. And that's
the chat for like 2 seconds.
Yeah, I got you. And that's where that was my whole point. Is that's where they want to get it to. Is they want to.
That's it. You're on my shit list.
With
Effective
the membership.
immediately.
Thank you. Welcome to fatherhood. It's going to be a great journey. That's where they want to get it to, is where you can't notice. You don't notice. And that's what a lot of these companies are waiting for to pull the trigger, is they want to get the technology, get their version of this technology to the point where you don't notice anymore. And once they do that, the floodgates are opened. Because if they have focus groups and they have test groups where they're showing them images, showing them videos, and going, which one's AI, and they don't know, then they're going to release it, because that's the ultimate goal. It saves them a lot of money, and it's kind of doomer to think about, but I think it's the way things are moving, to be honest. MS just did a deal to restart Reactor 1 at 3 Mile Island in order to power some kind of AI server farm. Everyone's going all in on this. What? Microsoft? Is that what you mean by MS? And 3 Mile Island, isn't that wow. This is I can't believe this is real. That's the I remember 3 Mile Island from Viva La Bam. They went to 3 Mile Island at one point for something, I can't remember, but it was close to them because they lived in Pennsylvania. That's crazy. What the fuck? Yeah, that is real. I'm looking at it right now. To power AI. That's insane. Yeah, I think everybody is going in on this. I mean, of course everybody's going in on this. They're putting as much into it as they can so that they can get money out of it,
And they're going to. The Pandora's box is open.
Yes.
The monster is not going back inside. The conversation, because I still see this on Twitter a lot, and I just see it everywhere in general, where when AI is used, people get frustrated. Yo, we got Treebeard with 50 SEK. What is that?
SEK. I don't know. I never know the currencies.
It's probably like $5 American. Let me see.
Swedish,
which we still appreciate, by the way.
Swedish,
very much.
Swedish krona. Thank you.
Let's go
for the 50 Swedish krona.
Shout out Treebeard. Thank you so much.
Favorite game. Also, do you guys look forward to any in particular? Love. Do you have a favorite game? It's a good question.
Of all time? Yeah, I've talked about it on stream. I think I said Resident Evil 4 is probably my definitive favorite game of all time.
Oh yeah, yes, you have. Yeah, Resident Evil 4. I think I'd say. I think last time we talked about this, I said Metal Gear Solid 4. I think I'd probably
which is a great choice.
Metal Gear Solid 4 or 5, I would say, is like the one where you're like,
great choices.
You can play any game right now and it's in front of you. I'm probably picking one of those two.
I think also, as for games I'm looking forward to, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero for sure. The Silent Hill 2 remake, I'm really, really hyped about. Snake Eater, or Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. There's something else coming out in October or November or something. I'm kind of hyped for. Black Ops 6 looks pretty cool. I
Yeah, that
may
comes
or
out.
may not play that. I played the beta and it was a lot of fun. Yeah, there's some games I'm pretty hyped about.
I had a list, but I deleted it today out of my notes. So, but I'm excited for MGS Delta, Silent Hill 2 remake. A lot of indie games. Frostpunk 2 came out today. I want to play that. There's a game called Parcel Core that's like making bike deliveries that I'm really excited for. Yeah, there's a lot of games that I have on my radar. I want to play the Dead Rising remake. Yeah,
Just play the original.
there's a lot. I have a running list that's like very long. What about Metal Gear 1? It's not my favorite. I think it's probably better than 4. It's probably better than
the original 5. Metal Gear 1 is better than 4.
Metal Gear 1. I would assume they mean Metal Gear Solid 1. Metal Gear 1 is not my favorite to play. I would not pick playing Metal Gear 1. It's a good game, but it's not like a really fun experience that you want to sit down and get into, you know. But Metal Gear Solid 1 is fun. The fact that they made it out of cardboard boxes because the AI isn't able to make anything more advanced outside of cardboard boxes says something. It shows how flimsy the technology is right now. I don't think that video was the actual AI running. That looked like just honestly
pre-rendered a concept.
Yeah, it was just a pre-rendered cutscene that they made in some animation software. That was not. There's no way that was AI. It looked too good to be AI.
And also, I would say the exact opposite of. I mean, I would say the exact same thing Master Delta said, but with the opposite inflection. If that was real AI, the fact that it would have even, which I don't think it was, but if that would have been AI, all that would have shown is how fucking insanely far the technology has come in such a short time. That's not flimsy. That's insanity.
If that was AI, we're fucked.
We're fucked either way, by the way.
Yes. But we're like really fucked if that's AI.
This conversation about, because this is what I was saying before we start talking about favorite video games. I've seen a lot of conversation. This is coming from voice actors. This is coming from developers. People are saying AI bad, get it out of here. Don't use AI. You know, if you see a developer using AI, if you see a publisher, if you see a movie with AI, you need to boycott it. I feel them. I agree with them morally and fundamentally, but this isn't going to work.
Yeah.
I don't think. Yeah. This conversation needs to be shifting to AI is here. We need to regulate the shit out of it. We don't need to be saying boycott anything with AI. That battle's over. It's gone. We need to start talking about regulating it. Because I'm thinking about James Earl Jones. And I'm thinking about him being Darth Vader and people talking about whether or not they're going to keep his voice around, because James Earl Jones gave his exclusive permission and wish for his voice to be Vader before he passed away. And now he's gone. James Earl Jones died, and he said, you know, I'm fine with you using my voice to be Vader. I would even like to see my voice be Vader. Yeah. So now with Star Wars Outlaws, his voice wasn't Vader. And people are like, okay, well, why didn't you use James Earl Jones' voice with AI like he said he was okay with? But then it's like, okay, well, we don't like AI. We're not comfortable with AI. We think AI is bad for voice acting. We don't want to indulge that. But now someone who actually wanted their voice to remain with the character that was close to them. Now they're gone, and now you're leaving their wishes on the table. It gets real finicky. And the only way we're going to find an answer to this is if we get some really solid legislative regulation on the books. It's like, we need to know what is okay and what isn't okay, because this Wild West shit is going to get out of control really fast. I gotta go pee real fast and then I'll be right back. But you're right. Regulation is the only way to go. But the problem is that we're going to start, you have to deal with politicians, and most of the politicians are boomers. The boomers don't even know that this is a problem. First of all, they can't even fucking tell. They can't tell. They have no idea. When they see a Facebook image
that's like, have you seen the memes of all like the army men boots?
I have.
Facebook images and shit. They don't know that's AI. They have no fucking idea. And two, if they do know it's AI, that's what they think it's for. They're like, oh, you mean that thing that makes those funny Facebook images, or Chat GPT where I talk to it and it tells me, it's like Google, right? That's what they think AI is. They have no idea what, like how far it goes. I'll be right back. I gotta piss.
Okay. Final act, evil active Darth Vader approving of AI. Well, come on. This was James Earl Jones, and he's not with us anymore. Rest in peace. This wasn't a Vader thing. And James, I think James, I don't want to speak for him, but my assumption is that he loved the character and he felt privileged to have been the voice of such an iconic character, and he just wanted to continue being a part of that legacy even after he was gone. I think that's respectable. I don't think that's evil of him to want that. But I think this technology needs to be. I hate the government, by the way, and I typically 9 times out of 10 do not trust regulation and want to leave the market as free and open as possible. But I also equally fucking hate mega corporations, and I don't trust them either. So we're in a lose-lose-lose. There is no winning. We were fucked. We lost. So we need to figure out the best way to chain the corporations and chain the government, because this is going to get out of control really fast.
All right.
It's a matter of using AI in the ethical ways. They used AI for Vic Vector's voice in Phantom Liberty DLC with permission from his family and where they got paid. I think that's useful. The young politicians are pretty ignorant too. I think, yeah, it's probably true.
Well, I think like the thing is too, like I've had people ask me like what my opinions on this are and stuff, and you know, it doesn't mean like, and I don't think you feel this way either. I could be wrong, but it doesn't mean that AI needs to be completely fucking outlawed and that we can't use it as a technology. There are good applications for it.
There's no way to make that happen.
No, it's unrealistic as well, but there are good applications for it, even in the games industry, the movie industry and stuff. From what I heard, and I haven't gone down the rabbit hole on this, so I don't know if this is real, but from what I heard, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth used some AI tech for localization or like translation stuff, or
I think I did.
Something.
Yeah, I think that's real. I did hear that.
And that's fine. That's okay. I think using it as an assist is good. Using it as an assistive tool to help you do certain things is good. But using it to generate things, like completely generate things, songs, music, art, words, scripts, like all that stuff, I think that's probably a little too far.
I mean, even using it for translation, you're putting a translator out of a potential gig.
I don't think it was, from what I understand, I don't think it was used to completely translate the game. I think it was used to assist or like check some stuff in the game. I can't remember. Obviously, I'm not okay with using it entirely to translate a game. It's not going to be fucking good anyways, because AI translation is terrible until it's not. But yeah, I think using it as an assistive tool for like not replacing if it's replacing a job, you're using it wrong. If it's assisting somebody's work, you're using it correctly. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, disclaimer, I know I speak for myself. I'm sure, this is objectively true of you too. We're just YouTubers. Yes. We're not politicians, and we're not CEOs. We're not corporate. But from where I stand as a consumer who has both interest and, to a degree, stake in the industry at large, this is what I was saying before you got back. We are in a lose-lose. There is no W for us. We don't get to win because it's either we get government regulation, which I don't like government regulation. I don't like the government. I don't like when they regulate things. I like free and open markets. So that feels like a lose, especially because the people who are going to be making the calls to regulate it they're not trustworthy, and they're going to fall in line with lobbyists, and whatever regulation they pass is likely to be the worst possible outcome for us, the consumer, and for the artist, and the best possible outcome for the corporations. But also, if we don't regulate it, I equally don't trust mega corporations to not exploit the market and suppress it in really, really bad ways. We're not talking about capitalism here. We're talking about straight up dystopian corporatism. So we're going to lose. I equally don't trust either avenue, but something has to be done. And maybe it's not equal, because I feel like I distrust the mega corporations slightly more than I distrust the regulation, because at least if some kind of regulation is on the books, as time progresses, someone might be able to get in and alter it. But the longer regulation isn't in place, the harder it will be to put it there, I think.
Yeah, I think to talk about the thing that you were saying about regulations and not wanting government regulations. If we're both saying the best way to go about this is regulations, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
If me and Evan are saying that the government needs to step in, it's pretty bad. Yeah, because I don't think either of us want that. That's not first choice. But yeah, you're right. It's not about win lose. It's about how bad we lose. We're gonna lose. It's just, do you want to lose really bad or only slightly bad?
I don't see a good regulation, because I can already hear the argument, like the more libertarian side argument of this being like, whatever regulation we got will be bad. It'll be worse for the consumer. But somewhere, I don't know, can't predict the future, but somewhere in my head, not having regulation sooner seems like a worse idea, because the regulation can be altered and honed in later, also for worse. We could just make it worse. But the longer we go without it, the harder it's going to be to get it there, because not setting a precedent is setting a precedent of no precedent.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Cyberpunk will no longer be nonfiction in the future, I'm willing to bet. No, see, that's the thing, is people always imagine it like we're going to be in Blade Runner or something. Or
we're not ever going to be in Blade Runner.
It's never going to be that cool. It's going to be infinitely worse, and it's not going to look cool.
It's going to be infinitely worse and infinitely lamer.
Yes, it's always way worse than you imagined, and it's always way lamer than you imagined.
It's I think I was saying this on my own stream the other day. It's like, we used to talk about how we would have AI and they would take over like working the fields and the oil rigs so that humans could focus on art, but the opposite happened. We have to work the fields and the oil rigs so AI can make the art.
Yeah. So that we can go home and shovel our slop generated by machines.
It's going to be bad dystopian. I was saying this on my Sunday stream.
You're on the bug farm for 12 hours a day, and then you come home and you
bug paste, baby.
You eat your bug paste and you watch your AI movie.
Another prediction I have for the future is
you say EA generate Edge Kino game from 2006, and it goes, okay, here it is.
No, it would no, hell no, dude. That's too good. I would get a prompt saying, we're sorry, but this material has been deemed offensive and we're not able to generate.
True. Yep.
Yeah. It would say generating farming simulator, bug farm simulator.
You go home from your bug farm job to play a bug farm.
It's like generate Jack and Daxter, Jack 3 Edge Kino. It's like, we're sorry, this content has been deemed to be offensive and extreme and lead to extremist tendencies.
Oh my God. Yep, probably.
But this is a real prediction I have for part of our dystopian future. I think that we're very close to seeing free cars, government provided free cars, electric vehicles. We're going to do away with fossil fuels. And I think that the way that they're going to do it is every electric car, state provided free car, will have a screen like Teslas do, like a big screen. And before you can start the car, you will have to watch a 30-second ad. I believe this. Probably. I genuinely believe this is going to happen. And they're going to be able to give out free cars because they're going to make so much money on ad revenue, because you can't start your fucking car before watching an ad.
Do you get the ad? Does your state have the ads at the gas station?
Fuck yeah, of course. I live in Florida.
We don't have that, but I've been to states that do, and it's always like the craziest thing. I'm like, what the fuck?
I had a breakdown over that like 3 years ago. I got made fun of for like 2 weeks from some friends because I was like, I was in a Discord like voice chat, but I was like, I had my headphones in and I was out running errands, and I started pumping gas, and an ad popped up in front of me, and I like started like screaming and ranting for like a solid 45 seconds about how we're in the most hellish dystopia where I can't even pump gas without seeing fucking ads. I say this as a content creator who makes his money from ad revenue, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, we're not totally non-complicit here, but
If I had the money, I would have already patented car like that design.
car ads.
I've had this idea for like 2 years. I should really fucking patent it so I can make Tesla or whoever the government subsidizes to manufacture this in mass.
Well, we talked about this on the show before, but or I brought this up on the show before, but the fucking
Screaming brand names.
No, the BMW, I think it was BMW. They created that subscription service that you have to use the heated seats and heated steering wheels in their cars.
They're closing in on it.
Yeah, it wouldn't be. I don't think it would be that much more dystopian than the things we already have. That, or like the ad just overrides whatever music you're doing, in your car, and it shows the ad anyways. Like it stops the music function, media function, and just shows the ads. Yeah, crazy.
I mean, you saw that Sony patented that. It's already patented the design where you have to say out loud the name of the product on the ad to stop the ad. Do you remember that? Yeah. It's like an ad for McDonald's. You have to go McDonald's, and then sit back down.
That is literally insane. That's fucking.
It's patented.
Next level. That's Blade Runner 2049, like cells,
but
interlinked,
worse.
cells, McDonald's, interlinked, McDonald's before you can play your game. Dude, that's fucked. That's fucked, man. You have to say it so that your subconscious takes it in, and oh fuck, that's hell, man.
Dude, if trench coats do not become trendy enough to wear without looking like an idiot, I'm gonna feel robbed. That's the only possible conceivable positive outcome,
at least,
of all of this garbage. The only good thing is if I can, when I'm in my like mid to late 30s, is if wearing like the edgiest Blade Runner Ryan Gosling literally me outfits isn't going to make me look like an idiot, because that's like in vogue.
Yeah, no, they'll ban that too. They'll just ban trench coats.
You're right. That's too cool.
Yeah,
they'll ban everything cool. You'll have to wear jumpsuits with brand names all over them.
yeah, like you're a race car driver.
But everybody has to wear them on your way to the bug farm for bug paste.
Oh fuck!
They're gonna come in tubes, and you're gonna get your eating privileges revoked if you criticize whoever the New World Order Prime Minister is.
Well, I don't want to end on such a bad note. So I wanted to bring up something that I saw today, which was the trailer for Batman Ninja versus Yakuza League. Did you see that?
No, this is the third Batman Ninja movie, though.
Yeah, they're making another one, but it's Batman Ninja, but he's fighting the Yakuza League.
It. You're on my shit list. Effective immediately.
Marius joined the stream late. Just wanted to ask if we can expect videos of Ishin, Gaiden, and Infinite Wealth in the future. Really loved your Yakuza videos. Thank you for the €5. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. I've been toying around with the idea a little bit more lately. I've been thinking about it. It's possible. I'll leave it as an open-ended. It's possible that in the future, maybe in 2025, that's something I'll get around to. But not on the list right at this moment. Maybe in the near future. Thank you again for your super chat. Yeah, but he's fighting the Justice League, which are the Yakuza League. And there's like a Green Lantern, there's like a Flash, there's like a... Looks kind of cool. I saw it and I was like, oh, I haven't seen any of the other Batman Ninja movies.
I saw the first one, and I really didn't like it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But do you remember earlier in the stream, we're going to kind of come full circle, where I said that, sometimes you'll see something and you'll think it's bad, but it's just because it's not what you were wanting it to be.
Yeah, in that moment.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what Batman Ninja was, because I was excited. I love Batman, right? I love Batman as a character, and I was really excited about Batman Ninja as a movie. But the ads made it look like it was going to be this really like intense, like Batman set in like Japan, and it was just a lot sillier in execution than I think the ads were promising. First off, it's like it starts in modern day and like a machine sends them to the past. It's
Oh,
not like, oh, this is what if they were in Japan. It's not that. It's
there.
like all of them are characters in modern day Gotham, and a machine sends them into the past in
Gotcha.
Japan,
Yeah.
and then they like acclimate to it, and it ends with like the Joker and a giant mech machine, and Batman fights it by thousands of bats forming into a Power Ranger like Zord.
Whoa.
It's just bats. It's not they're just flying so fast that they're forming like, and then Batman like takes control of them. And when he throws a punch, all of the bats like flying around really fast, like make the punch to,
Dude,
and he
I actually
fights
want
a
to see
giant.
that sounds sick as fuck.
Well, right. That's what I'm saying is when I saw it, I was like, I hated that. That was fucking stupid. But looking back on it, I'm like, okay, I don't think the movie is bad. I just don't like that.
Yeah.
I think that that's dumb. But I also recognize that that's probably really cool for someone.
Dude, you explaining that to me, I'm like, that's fucking awesome. That sounds sick.
Well, you would probably like it, but
check it
I did
out.
not like it at all. I was hoping for something very different, and I did not get
the
it.
The thing is, I say I got to check that out, but actually what's probably going to happen is I'm going to watch another Tubi movie this week.
I'm just gonna continue on my binge of Dexter, which I just started for the first time, which you apparently hate.
I don't like Dexter. No, it's just.
But
bad.
you
It's got
don't
bad
dislike
vibes.
Dexter. You dislike Dexter's fan base.
I dislike Dexter's fan base, but I do. There is some part of me that also dislikes Dexter. It's just got bad vibes. I don't know.
I think it's fine.
Something about it.
But I'm also like immune to disliking most. So like My Hero Academia, for example, is an anime with one of the worst fan bases imaginable.
I love
like,
My Hero
Academia. But I really like My Hero Academia a lot. I'm a big My Hero Academia fan, but I also acknowledge it as a terrible fan base. I don't know. Maybe that says something about me. Maybe I'm terrible. I could see that.
Well, I think,
but I really like My Hero Academia.
With something like Dexter, I watch it and I'm like, what would people? Who am I associating myself with right now? I'm like, this is the lamest thing I could do right now. I don't care if anybody watches Dexter, by the way. I just think it's funny. I think the idea of imagining what you would picture somebody who's watching Dexter would look like is really funny to me. I don't know why. And I guarantee you that nobody watching this is like getting what I'm saying. But I just think it's really funny.
Well, you know, it's based on books, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
it's a cool idea. It's like a serial killer who only kills other serial. Well, I think that's. But I mean, I like mystery stuff. Like I'm a big fan of like Sherlock Holmes, and I like British murder mysteries a lot. I've seen a lot of them.
Yeah.
That vibe, that British like murder mystery serial killer stuff, like that appeals to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, because I haven't been watching like anything lately. I've just been playing games, honestly. I really haven't gotten the time to watch anything. The last thing I watched outside of Tubi movies was
Who are you associating yourself with by watching a bunch of like the worst imaginable Tubi movies?
Oh, I don't even give a shit about that. Those are funny. I'm having the time of my life. I'm just laughing my fucking head off at watching those movies. It's the best thing I could be doing. That's part of the fun with the Tubi movies, because I'm like kind of hate watching it, and I'm imagining who would be watching this, and I'm like, well, who is this for? You know, like that's part of the fun. But yeah, I think like the last thing I watched, I was on a John Wayne kick for a while. I was watching John Wayne Western movies for a while. I probably need to get back to that.
What were some ones you liked from John Wayne? What were some good John Waynes that you liked?
The Searchers and The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance were the two best ones that I watched, I think.
I don't think I've seen those. The ones I've seen are I like The Quiet Man, although it's been a while, and then I thought I haven't seen it in like years, but I remember thinking McClintock was okay. Did you watch those? The Quiet Man and McClintock. Those are some John Wayne classics.
I think I watched McClintock. I did like that one. They were all pretty good. Like there wasn't one that I watched that I was like, this is terrible, you know? They were all fun.
Yeah,
They were all fun.
classic manly John Wayne movies.
Dude, they're great. They're awesome. They're
Yeah,
so
you're a big
fun.
Western guy, though, right?
I do like Westerns a lot, yeah.
You like Clint Eastwood movies?
Yes. Yeah, I love
Outlaw Josie Wales?
Yeah, yeah. Clint Eastwood's great. I had never seen like that many, or really any John Wayne movies, so that was kind of why I went down that rabbit hole. All right, it's probably about time to wrap it up, I think.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, we're about right at 9 o'clock.
Rap City, Rap City, bitch. I don't know why I did that. What do you got coming out?
Well, my full series retrospective on Perfect Dark just dropped 2 hours ago at 7 o'clock today. So you can actually leave straight from this episode, go over to my channel, and watch my full series retrospective on Perfect Dark, where I cover the first game and the second game. And if you've already seen those, there's an additional like 25 minutes of footage where I talk about both books and all of the comics and other additional media for Perfect Dark. So you should definitely go check that out. I actually ended up really, really loving it. I read the books and they're really fantastic. So there's some of the best video game tie-in related novels that I've ever read. I think they're really good.
Go check that out. It's out right now. Pushing 3 hours on that one.
Yeah.
Damn. Look at
Yeah,
that.
I talked a lot about the, like additional like media, like the books and the comics and stuff. Really good stuff, actually.
Yeah.
Better than the games, even.
Oh,
I
shit.
think that the 2 books and the 6-issue comic series are actually better than both games.
Damn. That's rare. That's really rare. Cool though.
Yeah, that's the name of the developer, is Rare.
I'm gonna have to watch that. I watched your Killzone 3 video and I liked it. It was really good.
Let's go.
What?
Just ordered my capture card. It's in the mail, so I can play Killzone Shadowfall next.
You don't have a capture card?
No.
Damn.
I haven't had one this whole time.
Holy shit.
I bought like a $35 capture card. I hope that it isn't awful.
Yeah, capture cards can be rough. I've had ones that like I'll record a bunch of footage. Make sure if I were you, I would watch the footage, like record like 10 minutes and then watch it, because I've recorded hours of footage with like bad capture cards and then like looked at the footage and it was all like choppy and shit.
Damn, yeah.
I
hope that's not the case. Like, well, the thing is, I know people who have gotten paid like $200 for like Elgatos and they're still bad. And then I also know people who paid like $30 for one and it looks great. So I don't know.
In my experience, they're all bad in some way, shape, or form. Like I've never had one that I'm like, this is perfect. Except I've heard the ones that are actually in like the PC are good. The ones that you
those are very expensive though.
Yeah, I've never pulled the trigger on one of those.
Luckily, no one really likes Killzone Shadowfall, so I think I'm gonna get away with it.
Yeah. I have a video coming out on Sunday at 1 p.m. My Metal Gear Solid 5 video.
It's time. It's
called Metal Gear Solid 5 Deeper Than Hell. It'll be out on Sunday.
We're going even deeper.
We're going even deeper. Cypher was send us to hell. We're going even deeper. I've heard that line about 3,000 times while I've been editing this video. But so that's going to be out on Sunday. Covers Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, PT, very, very brief section on PT, Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain, and Metal Gear Survive. Check that out. It's about 3.5 hours. If you want to watch it right now, it's going to be up on the Patreon. I think as soon as we're done filming this, well, it's still processing, so it'll be up on the Patreon soon. But yeah, you can go check it out early over there. And then I should have a worst Steam games video out shortly after that. I kind of dove into a weird rabbit hole on this worst Steam games video. Have you played those, or have you seen those games like that banana game on Steam?
I think I just like yesterday saw something about it existing, but I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, well, that game's in particular got really popular because it just drops you random Steam items that you can sell on the marketplace for that game. And it's kind of crazy because all these other games came out like it. that are like trying to copy that idea, and the developers making a shit ton of money because every time you sell one of them, it's like NFTs. They get, you know, a cut of it. They get like 1 cent.
This is the new grift right here,
dude. It's crazy, and I haven't seen anybody give accurate numbers yet on how much I think they've made, and I'm gonna do all the math and shit and break that down. Because
what's the name of this game?
The one game is called Banana. That was like the big game, but I found
the fucking banana game managed to deliver what Logan Paul promised all those years ago. You make money while you play the game on CryptoZoo.
I don't think anybody else is making money, but the developers, I think they've made a shit ton of fucking money.
Nah, dude, this is like that Wolf of Wall Street where they're counting up their money from the 0.02
the penny
cents.
stocks. But yeah, that one should be interesting, and it's just packed in general. There's like a lot of really poor games that I found that are really interesting to talk about. Some from like series, some that are newer, some that are older. So I'm excited for that one as well. Outside of that, though, next Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be here. We're dependable. We're reliable. We're always here for you.
For you.
Bye.